Zoe was only 2 years old when she first held Nils the dog in her arms. He was a stuffed animal, a small brown dog, and from that moment on, he was her everything. Nils became her comfort when she was sad, her partner in all imaginable games, her taste advisor on everything, and her closest friend when the night grew dark and frightening. I love you, Nils, Zoe whispered every night before she fell asleep, hugging him tightly. Nils loved her back, in his own way, or so she believed, but who could know what a stuffed dog was truly thinking? Years passed, and Zoe grew older. By the age of 8, she began to play less with Nils. His place in her bed was increasingly replaced by books and electronic gadgets. By the time she was 10, he mostly lay alone in the bed. She still slept with him, but the games and cuddles became less frequent. Zoe held on to him, but not with the same intensity. I'm grown up now, Nils, she said once as she tossed him onto the bed. You understand, right? Nils didn't respond, but something in his black button eyes seemed to darken. It was as if he was watching her, though she refused to notice it. It was shortly after Zoe's 12th birthday that she first began to notice the small changes. She could have sworn she left Nils on the shelf the night before, but in the morning, he was suddenly sitting on the desk. Mom, did you move Nils? She asked one morning. Her mother shook her head. Why would I do that? He's yours. Zoe laughed it off. She must have forgotten that she had moved him herself, but soon it became harder to ignore. One night, she woke up to a faint sound, like something softly thudding against the floor. Her heart began to race. She turned on the lamp and saw that Nils, whom she clearly remembered having placed on the shelf, was now sitting on the floor in the middle of the room. I must have kicked him under, she mumbled to herself. There's nothing strange about that. She let him stay and turned off the lamp. But she didn't sleep. As weeks went by, more strange things began to happen. Nils appeared in unexpected places, sitting in the stairs, leaning against the bathtub edge, or even at the foot of her bed. Zoe began to feel a creeping unease. She talked to her parents. Her mother looked thoughtful. Are you sure, Zoe? Her mother asked. Yes, no, yes, I don't know, Zoe replied, now unsure of herself. She knew she had never touched Nils in the evening, and yet he was never in the same place where she had left him. One night, she woke up to something moving at the foot of her bed. She turned around and screamed. Nils was sitting there, his button eyes staring straight into hers. How did you get here? She whispered, but she didn't dare touch him. Soon, Nils's behavior became more aggressive. Zoe found strange pictures of herself on her mobile phone, photos she hadn't taken, pictures of herself while she slept. Her sketchbooks, which she had always been careful with, had torn pages. Why are you doing this? She asked one night, staring at the stuffed animal as if it could answer. And then, on a cold night, she received a response. A voice, thin, raspy, and filled with bitterness, whispered in her ear as she lay in bed. Why am I not enough anymore, Zoe? She screamed and flew out of bed. The room was empty, but Nils was sitting on the floor, his button eyes fixed on her. I'm crazy, she whispered to herself, tears streaming down her cheeks. This isn't real. One night, she decided to throw Nils away. She placed him in a box and set it on the sidewalk for the garbage truck to pick up. It felt like a weight had been lifted from her chest. She fell asleep that night with an unusual lightness, but the next morning, Nils was back on her desk again. His button eyes glimmered in the morning light. You can't get rid of me, the raspy voice said. I'm yours, always. Zoe ran in panic to her mother. She began to cry and told her everything. Her mother held her and tried to comfort her. What do you want to do, Zoe? Her mother asked. I don't know, Mom, Zoe pondered. We'll send him away, far away. Her mother nodded. Then we'll do that. They found an address far away and got a box. Zoe looked at him one last time. You are my friend, Nils, my very best friend. Why did it have to be like this? You were my comfort and security. Now I'm scared of you. She gave him a kiss on the forehead as many times before carefully laying him down. But even when he was far away, she could swear she heard the voice whispering in the wind. I'll find you, Zoe. You and I belong together. And there, among the shadows, a small brown figure seemed to stand and wait.
If you liked this story, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. It helps a lot, and you won't miss out on any future stories. Take care and live your best life.